Are you a warm-up champion? Do you leave your best throws in the warm-ups? I'm gonna give you the keys that you can use to stop being that warm-up champion. And we're gonna start right now. So the first thing that we have to identify is what is a warm-up champion? And I wanna differentiate, because a lot of people might say, well, Joe Kovacs, he warms up really deep. He takes monster bombs when he's warming up. And we've got to look at first, that's a whole nother level. That's the world-class level. That's a professional level. And he also backs it up with world titles, Olympic medals, Diamond League titles, right? So I don't necessarily think that that should be factored in here. We have seen Joe take absolutely huge warm-ups, but there's also that mental aspect behind him taking those big throws in warm-ups. What I'm referring to when I say a warm-up champion, I'm more specifically referring to a high school athlete, a collegiate athlete, typically men who go in and they take huge warm-up throws, all the way down to their standing throws, just taking huge bombs and on their standing throws, throwing as hard as they can, blasting out of the front of the circle, on their glides or their half turns, going as hard as possible, blasting out of the front of the circle, fouling all over the place. And then going from a South African and throwing 2 meters further from a South African than they actually would from a full throw. And then wondering why the South African doesn't transfer over. And then taking their full throws and throwing 3, 4, 5 feet further, screaming like crazy, blasting out of the front of the circle, and then taking that step back, they go into their first throw for the competition and they foul. Then they go into that second throw for the competition and they throw 5 or 6 feet less. And then that third throw for the competition, they just got to get a mark to get their feet under them. Maybe they take a standing throw and then they get everything moving properly. But in all reality, they won the meet in the warm-ups, but they got destroyed by their competition in the regular meet, in the regular competition. I think that this is something that there's a couple key factors that we can go over. And so what we tend to see with these individuals that tend to win the warm-ups and not the actual meet is that they don't have a plan, okay? They don't understand what they need to be doing to warm up effectively. They don't look at the warm-ups as what they are. You're warming up. You don't need to throw far yet. The whole point is to get your body ready. The whole point of warm-ups is to get your technique in line. The whole point of warm-ups is to feel ready to compete. You're not competing yet. Okay, you're just warming up. So one of those things, if I watch somebody like Ryan Krauser, the greatest shot putter of all time on the men's side, is that he might take warm-up throws where he's going very, very slow. And I know he's mentioned in the past, how slow can I go and still throw 21 meters? Can I still throw 70 feet, 22 meters at a very, very low intensity? And if he's able to do that and hit proper positions, he knows when he turns the dial on, he can go 23:38 and break the world record. So one of those key factors, okay, the first key factor is know what the warm-ups are for. They are for warming up. They're not for dropping huge bombs, okay? The second key factor, have a plan. How many reps are you gonna take from a standing position? How many reps will you take from a half turn? How many reps will you take from a full? And my recommendation would be, if you're a spinner, you only take 1 or 2 standing throws. I recommend not even really taking a half turn, but instead spending more time from that full throw, taking 2, 3, 4 full throws if you have the time, if you're in a dual meet, or if you're in a local invitational, you usually can get about 4 to 6 throws, so you can take 2 stands and 4 fulls, and now your full is warmed up effectively. If we spend a lot of time doing a half turn, or a lot of time doing South Africans, just because we want to see the throw go long, what ends up happening is that we're warmed up for that specific throw, but we're not really warmed up for our full throw. So then we don't have that rhythm. So the third key factor is also just identifying what your technique needs to be. A lot of athletes will go compete and they don't think about what is their technical execution. What does that need to look like? What are their 1 or 2 key cues? That's that next key factor, is that know your technique. Okay, we know that we want to load here. We want to push around this left leg if I'm a right-handed thrower. We want to get this wide sweep and down. Okay, we want to sweep down. Okay, we want to come around the left, sweep down. We want to come around the right with the left leg here. And then on the finish, we want to go around the left. So try to have 1 or 2 cues, wide sweep down. Okay, that's one cue. Wide sweep down is one cue. Catch that left arm, finish. You know, catch the left arm, slam. That's 2 cues. Okay, so you can just think about those 2 cues over and over and over and over again while you're warming up, while you're visualizing, and that's gonna really help you execute that plan a lot easier. If we don't have those cues, as we're warming up, we're thinking about 9 or 10 or 11 different things, and then we get a little bit distracted. And then that final key factor to prevent yourself from being the warm-up king is to just have an overarching ritual, okay? Know what kind of music you wanna listen to an hour out. Try to stay calm when you're an hour out from that competition. Start establishing that ritual an hour ahead of time. Know when you should be taking your caffeine. Take caffeine about 30 minutes ahead of time. Review what those cues are, okay? Understand what your cues are. Review how many warm-ups you're gonna be taking. Also, know what type of dynamic warm-up or general warm-up that you wanna do beforehand. And then have that ritual all the way down to what are you gonna do when you get in the circle, okay? I wanna chalk up. I wanna step in. I wanna get set. I wanna say my mantra. I wanna put the shot in my neck, and then I wanna go. So make sure you understand what a warm-up champion is. You don't want to be the warm-up champion. You want to be the actual champion. But to avoid that, use all of these keys. And if you need help with your training, head over to throwsuniversity.com and you can pick up a course today. You can pick up a technical analysis or a customized program so that we can help you drop some bombs. Until next time, guys, peace.